Welcome back to the Canna Connect show. I'm your host, Stephen Eigenman. Today I'm here with lighting consultant from CEE, the Center for Energy and Environment, Brad Obermueller. Brad, great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you.
Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
On today's show, we're going to talk about one of the biggest opportunities that people may not be aware of when it comes to lighting inside of your micro business and from a cultivation perspective and how CEE can help you. We're also going to talk about destigmatizing the plant and how Minnesota has made huge inroads in helping more people take a chance on cannabis in a low dose or in a at your home environment, or hey, even at a restaurant, you know? And then we're going to get into your why and what drives you from a personal standpoint and how big of an impact cannabis has had on you and your family. And then we're also going to take a look ahead and say, hey, where might the Minnesota cannabis industry be in 5 years? We hope that it's in a much more developed, much more equitable and homogenous place where we're not having city councils, you know, and zoning and all the unfair green tax that seems to be happening and is happening across the state and the country. But let's get into it. You know, we just had a great event yesterday, and we appreciate CE for being a huge part of the Canna Connect show, and it makes sense to start it off with episode 1 with you, Brad.
Thank you. Happy to be a part of this group.
Let's get into it.
All right.
My biggest takeaway from yesterday was how you, as in the micro business that's looking to build cultivation into your license, you're incentivized in multiple different ways towards higher efficiency lighting. And the more efficient that your lights are, the better your rebates are.
Correct.
And the more efficient your lights are, the less you'll pay in the monthly energy costs. Your hardware, your lighting, is going to be more expensive in the beginning.
Right.
Because you're buying more technology. Your lights have higher tech, right?
Yep.
It's how would you explain that?
Yeah, so if you were to go with high pressure sodium, first thing, it's not insured in the cannabis industry. Okay, so insurance is kind of the new thing. You have to have it. Fires, right? All of these things that can happen with a hot lamp.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The high pressure sodium also has to be replaced every 2 years. LED is every 5 to 6, okay, for a grow fixture.
Okay.
All right, so if you're replacing that high pressure sodium twice, you know, already there I can justify the cost of the LED fixture. But beyond that, the efficiency, the light spectrums that you can get, the PPE, the spread of light, the, you know, how they can dial it in, the dimming on an LED fixture, you know, with a veg light, you can go with a lower wattage and really drop those, you know, you can make it feel like it's outside, basically, right? You can adapt to what it'd be like if that plant was growing in a California sun, right?
Sure.
You can't do that with a high pressure sodium. You can only dim about 20% of the light.
Another thing that stood out to me yesterday was a high pressure sodium light is basically a street light that you see see out on Lake Street where we were yesterday. So that's the easiest way to think of what a high pressure sodium light is. It's similar to what a street lamp.
Yes.
And that's not as efficient as LED. And within LED, how much of a range is there in what you can buy on the market?
So when you're in the market looking for a LED, you know, one high pressure sodium is the equivalent of a 3.0 PPE 500 watt LED fixture.
Okay.
So you're cutting half of that original light source in a 4x4, right, to 500 watts, more efficiency, better yield, all by just switching technology. Now, you could get away with different layouts, and I'm not the cultivator expert. I'm learning like everybody else, right? But the conversations I'm having are only beneficial to go to LED because of its capabilities, because of its future proofing, because of the technology to have controls that, you know, the cultivator can do from his phone. You know, you can monitor the humidity, the light, the heat, everything. Now, like Kat said yesterday, you can have lower CO2 because that's the whole point of LED. That's what I do for a living, is try to reduce the carbon footprint, right?
Okay.
That is Center for Energy and Environment. And when you're putting out something that needs carbon, right?
Yeah.
The plants need it.
Okay.
So they got to supplement that. And when I hear something new like that, oh, okay, well, now I got to pivot. I have to inform people as I'm talking to them as professionals and business owners, let them know there is no heat coming from LED. I don't know if you knew that. Talk to these cultivators. Most of them know it, but some of these business owners are looking for cultivators. They have the building. Most of these people are like, hey, I have this dream. I have the financial backing. Where do I start? Okay. Well, I have a guy at Xcel that can talk to you about all your HVAC and DHU needs and refrigeration. He's been doing this for 6 years across the United States with Xcel, running the rebates, making sure we're pointing you in the right direction, right? That's kind of, when me and my colleagues wrote this program, my thing is I just want to be part of a checklist. I want to educate and make sure that we're helping people save money, that we do have these data centers. We're putting electric cars out there, right? We're electrifying everything. Therefore, there's going to be a demand. Now cannabis is coming in. Now you need 3-phase. Okay, we're adding power to the grid.
Yeah.
So we have to save energy in order to prevent power plants from being built, because that's when the taxpayers, the business owners, are going to start paying more to the utilities.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're adding power, but we're doing it efficiently. We're reducing the carbon footprint, and we're also preventing power plants from being built because we're navigating this correctly.
Wow.
Okay? And I don't know.
One of the things that I struggle with a little bit with Canna Connect is, you mentioned the cultivators. You mentioned the business owners that are coming in it without cultivation experience.
Yeah.
And to me, that's really the spectrum of who's getting into this industry. You have a wide variety of folks that have been doing this, whether it's above ground or below ground, or in Minnesota or out of Minnesota. And at this point, it's been hard for me to market to the guys and gals that have been doing it for years, that know what they're doing. So why would they come to a seminar when they're already aware of what they need to do? And so by having this platform, this show, where we can allow them to view our perspective at their leisure, and hopefully they like what they're hearing, they like our personality, and maybe they're more inclined to come to a meetup or something like that, where it's less of a seminar, more of a networking, meetup, community, and cannabis event, where you can consume outside, you can have a beverage inside. There are tables for you to talk to folks. Like, trying to provide a wider spectrum of how you can show up to a Canna Connect event versus you're going to come, you're going to learn. Well, what if you know everything?
Sure.
And so that's an internal battle that now I'm kind of putting out there, where it's like, we can't be all things to everybody, but we try to bring a mix of voices to the room, like we did with the facility event recently, where there was such a great wealth of information shared during the event, from yourself to Kat, to Don, to Jeff, to Munir, to Gus. And we have to keep putting out information. We have to keep putting out education, because maybe 2:00 on a Wednesday doesn't work for you, but hey, we're live streaming it thanks to CEE.
Right.
And we're going to be on LinkedIn with this video and Facebook with this video. It's like, you can't get discouraged by, only 12 people showed up, or 20 people showed up. It's like, well, there's so much that goes into getting someone to show up in real life. And, we appreciate everyone who's supporting Canna Connect, because we're going to keep trying to reach more people, because we really believe in this Minnesota cannabis market, from the home grower all the way up to the Mezzo business, all the way out to the tribes. Like, there's going to be a homogenous level of cannabis. There's no opt-out from municipalities. Yes, they can make it challenging to get your zoning. They can put you in the corner where nobody wants to be, in Detroit Lakes. But what I am excited about is for you to share a little bit more about how CE can help more than just the micro business. On one of the recent conversations I had with Laura, CE can help existing hemp shops, existing retailer, really any business that has lighting. You guys have the ability to help with rebates. And
Absolutely.
can you talk a little bit more about that?
Great question.
Also, before we move on,
Yes.
the only high pressure sodium that I'm concerned about is Cocoa Flow.
I love it. Good plug. So to answer your question, yes. So the different levels, and even like you said, these guys that have done this somewhere else, or they have mastered cultivation in their basement, you know, the knowledge that they have, yes, to go to a seminar, but what they're hopefully taking away is that, hey, maybe you're a master cultivator, but you didn't know that Xcel has rebates that are unlike anywhere else that you've probably grown before, right? That can make this business for you. You're the cultivating master, right? But now you have someone that you can grow for, and you can make that happen because of the resources that are out there in Minnesota territory, right? The big thing is you can see the traction that you guys are gaining, whether it's 10 people a week or 100 people, right? With working with the utilities like you are, with professionals that you are, it's only a matter of time till maybe these cultivators that know a lot are like, hey, I have something that worked with me, right?
Yeah.
Now, because it's a networking platform that you're creating, everybody can have a voice, whether it's sitting in a chair or coming to a networking event or crossing paths, because that's all we're doing right now, right? And then finally they feel comfortable, like, hey, let me share what I've learned. You know, that's what you're creating. It's not, you have to go through this person, you have to talk to this person. So when we talk about what I do and what Laura was mentioning, you know, we're reaching out to customers, you know, maybe they only have a dispensary, but they want to cultivate. Well, great. Let me look at this warehouse. Same to the studio, right? You come in, oh my gosh, you still have fluorescence, or there's a fluorescent ban coming nobody knows about. So with that happening,
or the refrigeration,
the cooling, all of that, the HVAC, you know, we can come in and there's no cost solutions, free assessments, right? To show you A, B, and C, how to be more efficient.
Right.
You know, maybe start with this, the low-hanging fruit, and let's swap out the old technology of lighting. And yes, we can give you these rebates. If it's outside our territory, there's other rebate companies. And I will work with Rochester Public Utility and Duluth, you know, and tell them, hey, this is what we're doing in Xcel, you know, and because they're calling saying, hey, we heard this is what you guys are doing. I had no idea. You know, so we're all working together in utilities. And we're trying to find out, hey, if you have cannabis and people are calling us, how can we send them, you know, to you to ask the questions that they're asking us in Xcel territory, right? So there are solutions for any level, any position in a business and in the cannabis industry, you know, offices, you know, the smart thermostats. Every business should have a free smart thermostat that Xcel gives you. We come in, I'll do a lighting audit, and now, yeah, your HVAC, your offices, everything like that. Why do you have something that clicks on and off and runs, you know, heavy usage when you could just have it automated, right? So there's things to lower utilities, to lower your costs. You know, that's the big thing when we put out our proposals, is we want to show the simple payback of, you know, in 4 months this project will be paid back. But what people don't understand is they're spending a lot of money on maintenance. They're spending a lot of money on replacing existing technology that isn't giving them a return. It's just, yes, the energy costs more, but it's also the business spending more to keep that old technology in place, right? So there's a maintenance savings. There's a lot of things that go into the customer actually winning and getting ahead, right?
Sure. Well, and to stay on Minnesota, and I realize that the majority of what you focus on is within Xcel territory. But we know from the hemp-derived retailers, there's 3,000 stores that are selling hemp-derived products like Cocoa Flow at their shop, whether it's a tobacco shop, a hemp shop, a CBD store, a dispensary. Like, the names have changed over the years.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they're retail focused, and I want people to know that CEE can help you even if you're not a cultivator.
Yes.
And then something that you shared with me recently was home growers are going to be able to take advantage of rebates at their house.
Yes. Up to 4 fixtures and 70 cents a watt, any home grower, and I believe it can backdate 2 years.
Wow.
So reach out to Xcel Direct and ask them about that. So
Yeah.
you can get money, but I mean, it makes sense, right? To reward people to put in better efficiency in their homes, because you're ramping up. You're ramping up with a high pressure sodium, even if it's 1 to 2 fixtures for your home grow. Mm-hmm. So it's great. They're reaching out. They're trying to really show people, not just businesses that they care, that, residentially, and, they haven't really put that out there, but I know they're accepting it. So it's great for, the taxpayers as far as residential as well.
Sure. I had to bring that price per pound down. I shared with you recently the conversation I had with Ron from Elion Cannabis, who's he just got a Mezzo business license and is now looking at property and trying to be vertically integrated, and how he views the Minnesota market versus how many in the Minnesota market view it. And one of the things that concerns you about the rollout with the micro businesses is the 18-month window that businesses have from when they receive their pre-approval to when they have to be up and running. That is a concern because it takes time to get your cannabis business set up. Mm-hmm. Now, when you hear things about rebates for home grow and you hear things about rebates for stores and just how we can help bring money back into the business owners and the home growers' pockets, like, essentially what I'm trying to get to is the cannabis business or the cannabis industry or cannabis in Minnesota will not disappear after 18 months. It will not disappear after 3 years. It has been written into statute. Cannabis is legal, hopefully forever, mm-hmm. as long as we're here and beyond our time mm-hmm. in Minnesota. And I think the approach that we have to take as we look ahead to 2026 is, how can we make things better as the plane is already sort of taking off, but how can we work? We're all on the plane together. There's pilots, there's flight attendants, stewardess, there's passengers, there's first class, there's business class, there's back of the bus, coach. And so there are multiple markets all happening at the same time, but how can we work together as a community to make things better for everyone, make things better for the majority of folks, the independents? Now, each class is going to fight for what they want and mm-hmm. to kind of elbow out, leave room for them. What I'm really trying to look at is, how can we improve year over year and make things better? And that's where, as an industry, we need to lobby. We need to try to get rules changed. We need to build out more space for social equity, build out more rebates, rewards, access in the sense of how can we make things more affordable? How can we make all these things? And I'm not a policy expert, but I believe that that's the approach we need to take. And when I hear things about, home growers are going to be able to get rebates, and what we were talking about is maybe that, to some, not every home grower, mm-hmm. maybe that helps them when the next round of licenses come out, to go from being just a home grower to wanting to get into a licensed business. And I'm trying, and we have the ability, because it's still so early, we have to think like 5 years.
For sure. How
can this industry grow? How can the Minnesota cannabis industry get better over the next 5 years? And I think in Xcel territory, at the very least, CEE is wanting to do that. So talk a little bit more about your why and what drives you to be so pro-cannabis as it relates to all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Not that you're a huge stoner or anything like that.
No. I love, okay. Good question. So for me, my passion to this, and it's crazy because, yes, I'm not a policy guy either, right? And at the Center for Energy, You know, I'm probably one of the least intelligent people that work there. I mean, you got graduates from MIT, you have engineers and brains and people trying to come up with solutions that are world changing, right? You know, so my little pocket in this is the cannabis industry or sustainability for small businesses. But my passion in this market happened 5 years ago when I was diagnosed with a blood cancer, okay? And 2 little kids, and you have a little one, you know, like that's your world. And as a father, and I would say the same as a mother, right? You got to be the rock. You gotta look for ways to like win. And I wasn't going to give up. I was going to channel it. And luckily, state of Minnesota has one of the best hospitals in the world, the Mayo Clinic.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Wisconsin from Illinois as a kid, my dad got into the Mayo Clinic. So somehow my name was already in their system. So when I got diagnosed right away, I was able to get in. I didn't have to do the lobbying and wait. And it just so happened to be that my doctor writes all the publishing and work on my small percentage cancer.
Wow.
So it's fascinating.
Wow.
That guy is my Michael Jordan. Like, honest to God, he is so fascinating. But the thing he said, you know, to my wife and I is, you shouldn't be here right now. So take that as, like, it's amazing with what your blood counts are that you're here. You know, the wife doesn't want to hear that. But for me, I'm like, oh, wow, there's a purpose, you know? And then I leave that, and he says, you know, you're going to get a lot of medication. The treatments are going to be difficult. So I suggest you look into cannabis for symptom relief, for taking less medications. And I was like, you know, I got kids, I got sports, I got a basketball board, or, you know, community things.
At this time, the amount of cannabis you were consuming on a monthly basis was?
At this time.
At that time.
You know, it was mainly at night to just stop me from wanting to puke or stop my head from...
But before
that, you know, it was more recreational.
But years back?
Years back, oh yeah, right. College years, right. Oh yeah. I tried,
but not as a dad?
As a dad, no. You
right.
know, I did...
cut it out.
Cut it out, or maybe have a drink.
Okay.
You know, a soda. Something like that to just take everything off. And then they said, you know, you can't drink alcohol anymore. You can't do this. So these seltzers came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know, I still feel like I can be social out and about with people, because that's taken away. It's not your identity, but it's part of like the social part of it. And
it's amazing how a 12-ounce can just destigmatizes the fuck out of the plant.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And they serve them in Wisconsin. It makes no sense. It's not even legal there.
Big doinks in Wisconsin.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can get 50s, but yeah. So then, you know, to speed my story up.
No, please.
You know,
we got time.
It's just...
Your doctor at the Mayo Clinic said, hey, cannabis might be what you need to
Because I was telling him how bad the symptoms were. Wow. And I tried to show up to work. You know, my bosses and my colleagues were like, man, you know, they would say the nice things and the right things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was motivated to just show up. I wanted my kids to know, like, hey, if you're down, if you're not feeling well, just show up and try to make someone's day. And it's best if people don't know that I'm going through that, right? Because then it's not that I'm trying to not talk about it. Yesterday I just decided to open up about it, and now I'm doing it again. And it's because I'm in a new stage of it, right? Okay. And so the cannabis got me off of, at one time I was on 11 pills, okay? The cannabis got me down to 6 pills that I take every day. So 5 medications, all 5 of those medications had side effects, you know? And I'm like, holy cow. And then I talked to the Xcel directly, and they were telling me about their programs in Colorado and New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I'm just starting to piece all this together, like what I'm going through as someone that it's helping, but then hearing the state wants to do, you know, a micro brew for cannabis, right?
Yeah.
Small cultivation. social equity, people that, are going to jail 20 years ago because they sold 2 bags of weed. Whatever it is.
The war on drugs.
The war on drugs, right? It's like, wow, okay, I could motivate and help the small guys do a regular lighting project. But this is bigger. This is higher level. This is people's futures, dreams. And I feel like, yes, this plant, she can help people. And if I can do that from a sustainability standpoint, and then know that this is a quality product that can help adults that don't have a medicinal card, like there's a lot of people that need help that can't get the help. Okay, they can't afford the medications. Mine was $3,000 a month, man. I had to ask one time for a benefit, and I hated that. I want to be the guy helping people, not getting the help. It's weird, and it's an art to learn how to accept some of that stuff.
Right.
But medication is outrageous. $3,000 for 1 month of therapy, or you take just a fraction of that for a little therapy in cannabis to alleviate. Now I'm starting a new trial and I don't have to do a chemo, and it's like everything's falling into line. And my kids got me back. This industry got me back. And I've gotten everybody at CEE, including the CEO, like the whole shift has changed there. The stigma has dropped from you think of a nonprofit, I'm sure everybody dabbles, right?
Sure.
But nobody talked about it. Now everybody's high-fiving, we represent the small business cannabis in Xcel, or we're talking to other utilities and trying to bring this program on. It's like, this isn't just my passion project. I think it's rubbing off and it's becoming our entire company's passion project.
And you've been there for 10 years, which is that's pretty amazing. Not I certainly haven't worked anywhere for 10 years.
Me neither.
And so the thing that I like about hearing your story, Brad, is there was CEE before Minnesota legalized cannabis.
Yes.
And you talk about your diagnosis around the pandemic, around the pandemic. Well, I'm sure that was easy.
30-minute mark, just so you know.
Oh, wow. And as I think back to the pandemic and that year of 2020 with Delta 8 being pretty rampant, and Delta 8 kept a lot of hemp shops in business around that time. But it wasn't that long after 2020 into 21 and 22 when CBD seltzers you started to see Balanced. They were the first CBD water. And then in 22 it got pretty popular, and obviously every year since it's just gone.
Blowing up.
And so it just feels like perfect timing in so many ways where an authority figure at the Mayo Clinic suggested plant medicine, cannabis raw flower, or and then you got access to beverages in the next subsequent year or two, and holy cow, that makes it a lot easier to I came home the other day, my wife was drinking a Wink, a 2.5 milligram THC CBD, and it's like, fuck, finally.
Yeah.
It just took a while, because as soon as it becomes legal, people's mindsets start to shift. When we legalized, and when Minnesota legalized cannabis in August 1st, 2023, or spring of 2023, all of a sudden CBD went from like, oh, I'm not sure about that, to, okay, that's just PG-13.
Right.
I'm old enough to go to that movie.
Yeah.
Now, or you could even look at it a little differently, or like cannabis is the R-rated movie or something like that. Like you have to be the adult to go see that movie. But like Minnesota has the ability to be the most, have the most momentum towards destigmatizing cannabis. And a lot of it has to do with the slow rollout, whether it was CBD and the boom and the crash of CBD, but along the way we learned about CBG and CBN, because those were tincture products that Crested River sold and Curable sold and like Nothing But Hemp sold, and you had access to these minor cannabinoid tinctures. And then they cut down on Delta 8, but CBD water popped up, and then all of a sudden like beverages and then we pass cannabis legalization, we get home grow, and then 2 years later Target's carrying CBD and THC in 10 select retail as a pilot, and I'm torn at times because there is the narrative, oh, the big MSOs are going to take everything, or the tribe's got an unfair advantage. And I understand that narrative, and I understand where that comes from, but alcohol is a $250 billion industry. Minnesota is projected to have a cannabis industry of $1 billion. There is so much room to carve out your niche. And what Canna Connect is doing is attempting to bring people together and provide a space for ideas to be exchanged and for referrals to happen. And I really appreciate CE and yourself and Tony and Jeff and Laura for all showing up, because at our events, there's great professional conversations happening between vendors, between
there is.
and part, like, at the end of the day, like, we want the individuals and the license holders to show up, but we also know that something that's always been consistent with us is when you show up to a Canna Connect event, you're going to meet somebody, you're going to walk away with a connection, and hopefully that puts you in a better position than where you were the day before. So
You guys are part of the destigmatization. You guys are taking away that stigmatization like that my parents had growing up, right? Now my dad has back pain and he takes a gummy and it's like, whoa, I was grounded for that back in the day. You know what I mean? And now you're using it every night to fall asleep for pain. Like, it's education. That's why we are invested in this with you guys, because you care about doing this the right way and making people feel comfortable, making people feel like, you know, we're all here together. This is a network, and there's ways to make a living off of it too. You know, not just maybe feel better and be a better person, parent, everything, right? It's, you can, this is a Wild West, man. There is money to be made in this too. Like, let's be honest, this is a business, right? And but let's do it right.
And there's many ways to go about it. You know, there's a dozen license types, there's the hemp side.
Exactly.
So we want to invite more people into our community and create things that we don't even know where they may exist. Like, nobody saw this coming, you know, and nobody saw a lot of, and for a long time, Minnesota and the hemp industry got a lot of flack. And I think I'm starting to see a shift that hemp beverages or hemp edibles or low potency is good for the industry. And so is homegrow. And I'm so glad that we have homegrow. And I'm excited about the micro licenses. I know we've shifted a little bit away from who you are really looking to serve, but these micro businesses, it's going to take them time, and not every application that got pre-approved is going to actually go to market, and I guess that's inevitable. And hey, it was only a $500 application fee, but that is one of the things that we're weary of, and we want to continue to be conscious of, is how can we continue to create more of a fair or a flat playing surface for the micro applicant, because we know that it's an uphill road for them to come to market. And
I'm here with them. I want to help them
so
make it happen.
If folks want to get in touch with you, I mean, the CE website's great. Where else could they reach out?
You can, should I just give my number on the
I mean, nobody's going to write that down.
CEE website, you can find us there. LinkedIn, you can find us. Facebook, you can find us in some of the cannabis groups. So all the social media, we're there. And
we'll in the show notes, we'll put your email.
Perfect.
If people want to reach out to you. Brad Obermueller, lighting
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Good to see
you. Awesome. Good to see you.